Frank literally is one of the true founders of the WWAMI program. Well, I met Frank probably around 1973-74. At that time, WWAMI was getting started in Bozeman. I think this really improved medicine in the state, and you know, Frank was certainly behind a lot of this. It's allowed us to sort of have our own medical school, but yet be involved with a wonderful world-class medical school, the University of Washington.
Frank was able to, in an uncanny, quiet, diplomatic, professional way, get things done. There's a book called The Tipping Point, and Malcolm Gladwell talks about key individuals that are important in change, and Frank is what you would call a connector. Would bring people together, understood policy and how to achieve goals and ends.
Frank was a very interesting man, a marathoner, was always in trim shape, a Marine. He'd tell you that very early. Apparently always flew the American flag and the Marine flag in front of his house.
He was really impeccable in terms of his dealings with people. He was very, very neat in terms of his dress. His desk was totally different than mine.
He was always also interested in rural health care. And of course, one of the reasons for doing WWAMI is hopefully having Montana students go to medical school and come back and practice in Montana, and that's exactly what's happened.
A big picture, cohesive vision is what Frank had and worked at every single day.
I started out as a WWAMI student in Bozeman at MSU in 1981, and when I think about it, it's been a significant part of my life ever since.
It's fun to be a preceptor. It's a lot of work, but it's also fun because you get to watch one student at a time, and you get to watch as they grow.
You really come around full circle. I mean, I was a student here. Now, you know, I'm a practicing clinician here, and then I get a chance to teach students and pass that on.
It's fun to kind of come full circle and be able to, you know, teach students from the University of Washington, and, you know, it doesn't seem like that long ago I was doing it.
They are different in July than they are in April and May. And it is absolutely wonderful to see that change, that growth, that evolution.
We had to come back to Montana because every time we'd come over the mountains, you'd relax.
Ultimately, I knew I wanted to come back to Montana. I've always said, why leave God's country if you don't have to?
What I think is great about the WWAMI program is that it gets the students out into areas that many medical students don't get to see at that level of their training.
What I love is having a student show up and say, okay, I want you to go into this room with this patient, and then I'll be in about 20 minutes, and you can tell me what you learned. I think that they just dread having a rotation where they sit and watch a doctor work.
The variety of patients that you had and the quality of patients that you had, I thought that it was a good mix of diseases and healthy and preventative care.
Really, there is no substitute for those experiences. You have to have those.
You know, Montana, just like every place in the country, really needs more primary care physicians, more internal medicine docs, and so you give them that positive experience, and hopefully they'll come back.
One thing that's different about students, our experiences then than now, is index medicus. I was talking to one of our students today, he's never seen index medicus.
Students today are much more comfortable and facile with the electronic medical record, and then they kind of struggle when you have to go to paper and like, how do I do this?
They do it on the computer. They instantly have the latest article on such and such. I used to spend hours in the library trying to find stuff.
It's fun to have students around. They always keep you on your toes. They're always asking why.
Keeps you fresh on your knowledge and up to date, and makes you think about definitions of things which you sometimes don't necessarily think about when you're practicing.
One of my favorite things with students are when they go look something up and they come back and they challenge you and go, "There's no evidence for this," and you go, "Yes, you've got it, man." Medicine is not a science, it's an art.
Plus, it's always fun to see people learn and pick up new things, and that's pretty cool.
The University of Washington WWAMI program has just afforded me a wonderful life. I met my wife there. I've been able to have a career where I get to help people and get paid well for it. And there's not a day goes by when I don't come home and say, I helped somebody today. I helped somebody have a better life.